With over 15 million copies sold worldwide, Think and Grow Rich is one of the most read and recommended books in this world. If you are like the millions of other people on this planet with the drive and the dream to become successful, more than likely you are going to be recommended this book by someone else. And right now is that moment. And your someone is me, all because you clicked on this video. So let's talk about it. Think and Grow Rich. Now, Think and Grow Rich has been around for a really long time. It was published by Sir Napoleon Hill all the way back in 1937. So if you read the original copy of this book, there's going to be a lot of outdated language and outdated scenarios. Luckily for us, our boy Dr. Arthur R. Pell wrote a revised version of the book. It's pretty much the exact same book. There are just a few things that he updated to be more relevant to today's time. Think and Grow Rich is going to be packed with information and the secrets to achieving wealth and becoming successful, with each chapter focusing on a different secret to achieving wealth. So let's talk about the original author of this book, Napoleon Hill. The dude claimed to have had over 500 conversations with the most successful and influential people in the world. Now, did he really talk to these 500 people? Honestly, that's up for you to decide, because alongside being the author of one of the most popular books in the world, he is also considered America's #1 con man. Why? For selling this book right here. Personally, I love the book. I think dude is great. I think he's spitting some straight facts in this book, and I choose to believe him. So in my eyes, no, Napoleon Hill is not a con man. Now, throughout the entirety of this book, to help explain the 13 secrets to gaining wealth, there are some basic topics that get repeated throughout the entire book. One of those basic topics, which is actually probably the first thing you read, is the fact that you need to have an undying belief in yourself to become successful. In addition to being mentioned a bunch, it's also mentioned in the book that if you can't do that, then don't even read the book. You're not going to get anything from it. If you can't believe in yourself, then nothing in this book is going to work. And if you don't believe in yourself, then just believe in the book, because the book literally takes you step by step through a process in which you will eventually believe in yourself. Now, I'm not just going to tell you about the 13 secrets in this book. Why? Because you need to read the book. If you're someone who is like how I used to be and you just don't read, well, guess what, dummy? It's time to start reading. Now, one of the first things that Napoleon Hill talks about that'll make you put your thinking cap on is something called the ether, or the ether, whatever you want to call it. I don't care how you pronounce it. Now, the ether is essentially everything that makes up the universe. It's everything around us. It's everything in us. We're part of the ether. You're part of the ether. My camera I'm recording with, the space around me, it's all the ether. Now, I know we're already in a place where you're like, dang, this is some weird stuff. And that's exactly what the ether is. It is weird. And so is this entire book. And just as this book is weird, it is also powerful. The next thing that gets mentioned very quickly in the book is something called infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence is actually what created the universe. It's the basis of the universe, which means it also created the ether. So you have the ether, that's what everything around us is, that's what the universe is made of. And then you have infinite intelligence, which is what created the universe and all of the knowledge in it. Now, I want you to think of infinite intelligence as like a mist that covers our entire universe. The universe came from this mist, and with enough practice, you can actually tap directly into this mist. That's right, you can tap into infinite intelligence. How? Stay until the end of the video to make sure that you find out. The way that I believe you tap into this invisible mist that contains all of the knowledge in the universe is by reading books. They all give you knowledge, which turns into intelligence. Bada bing, bada boom. Infinite intelligence. Now, another thing that Napoleon covers at the very beginning of his book and then waits to explain until later is the mastermind. A mastermind group is a group of people with similar interests, maybe similar professions, and what they do is they discuss topics and problems in each other's lives and businesses and work together as a group to come up with ideas to help solve those problems. And that is quite literally what Napoleon Hill is talking about in his book as well. He says that it is very important to have a mastermind group. Without a mastermind group, it is actually impossible to become successful or wealthy. Luckily, the mastermind group has no real parameters. It can be 2 people, it can be 3, it can be 10 people. As long as it's a group of people discussing topics conflicts so that you can solve problems. That is what a mastermind group is. Now, of course, that's not where Napoleon Hill stops with the mastermind group. He has to throw in a dash of weirdness. And what is that weirdness? Well, simply the fact that this mastermind group can exist in your mind. That's right. It does not need to be real people. They can be fictional people. They can be people who have died in the past. The mastermind group in my head consists of all living people. In fact, some of these people I even know and talk to on a daily, monthly, weekly basis. My imaginary mastermind group consists of myself, of course, my older brother Fabio, our mentor Mike Rizel, Rob Bailey, and Brandon Carter. Now buckle up, because anything you thought was weird or crazy is about to be overshadowed by the weirdest, craziest part in this book. This concept teaches you how to utilize the ether and even tap directly into infinite intelligence. This is a concept that will take anybody years, if not their entire lifetime, to fully master. Napoleon even goes as far to say that the average person who starts to use this concept only begins doing so at the age of 40. This final recurring concept in the book is known as the sixth sense. The sixth sense is unlocked by those who truly dedicate themselves to doing so. They have to absolutely dedicate themselves to the practices in this book laid out by Napoleon Hill. Mastering the sixth sense is something that very few people on this planet have ever done, will ever do, could ever do, or even think to do. From what Napoleon says, you ready? Are you buckled in? This ability literally allows you to control and manipulate physical things in the universe. We're talking about telekinesis, projecting images, thoughts, and ideas into other people around you by simply observing the ether and using infinite intelligence to communicate with those people and things in the ether. So what Napoleon is saying is that with a full mastery of the sixth sense, you can literally pull some Marvel type stuff and tap into the essence of the universe. The entire universe is at your disposal. Do I believe in this? Hell yeah, I do, because it sounds awesome. Right off the bat, when I read about the sixth sense, one of the first things I thought about was deja vu. It kind of sounds like what deja vu is essentially you're catching a glimpse of an alternate reality, alternate universe that is made up of the same ether that we are currently surrounded by. And for some reason, there has been a slip between these two universes. And that slip opened up in your mind. It's also stated that practicing sleep states like lucid dreaming are ways that you can tap into your sixth sense and even train it. Lucid dreaming is very real. Deja vu is very real. We experience these things often. What we are not taught is that we can tap into these things and we can grow them and expand them. Now, I know all of this sounds crazy and super hard to believe. And that is literally the point. Because the number one thing that gets hammered in by this book is you need to have an undying and unwavering belief in yourself and your abilities. Because if you do not have that, you cannot have success. You cannot have wealth. It all starts with one thing, the belief in yourself. That is what I truly believe this book is actually about. And that is why I loved this book so much. I got a lot of value out of this book, and a lot of things I implemented into my life immediately have already shown their beneficial effects. This book is an absolute must read for anyone who wants more out of life and wants to be more successful, no matter how you define those two things. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my discussion of Think and Grow Rich. Subscribe so you can see what book I read next.